That was on Legion of Skanks, the podcast Legion of Skanks, and they tricked a Fox News reporter that was doing a documentary about comedy, and she thought she was talking to Dave Chappelle, so I prank phone called her as Dave Chappelle, and she believed it for a good 5 to 6 minutes. And I was just walking my dog in New Jersey.
And what did you tell her?
It was through our friend Louis J. Gomez, and
Right.
they were like, "What bit are you going to do? Like, how are you going to mess with her?" And I was like, "I'm just going to keep." She thought Louis J. Gomez, who's a friend of mine, been a long-time friend of mine, she thought he was very close to Dave Chappelle. He's not. I don't think he's ever met Dave Chappelle.
Why did she think he was close to Dave Chappelle?
Because she was like, "Oh, we want to get Dave on this comedy documentary," and she was saying Dave, and he thought she meant Dave Smith from the Legion of Skanks podcast. And he was like, "Oh, I'll give you Dave's number. He's like a brother to me." And so she thought it was Dave Chappelle. And so she was like, "It's such an honor to text you." And then Tim Butterly, a really funny Philly comedian, was on the podcast, and he was like, "You guys should prank phone call her as Dave Chappelle." And Big J was like, "Soder does a perfect Chappelle. You should call her." And I was playing a video game, and he called me, and he's like, "Hey, will you make this prank phone call?" And I grew up doing prank phone calls, so I was like, "Yeah, I would love to." And so I called her. They called her on, like three-way calling, and then I just tricked her into thinking Dave Chappelle was best friends with Louis J. Gomez.
Is that online now?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. They've clipped it, but it was very funny because
is it yours? Can we use it? Can we?
Oh yeah, you guys
run
can air it. I guarantee they would love if you aired it.
Okay, let's put up that call because I want you to talk us through it. I love my favorite thing, even more than TV and podcasting, is prank calls.
It was when I started. It was like kind of like the first realization that I was funny was when I would prank phone call with my friends.
Right.
And I grew up right at the age where Star 67 became a thing.
Right.
So then it was
For those that don't know, Star 67 is where you can blocks your
number.
Right.
So you can prank phone call. You're off the grid.
Right.
And it was unbelievable.
What's your favorite prank call of all time?
I used to call grocery stores telling them that the food got me sick, and I would just describe the sickness that I got, and to keep them on the phone. There was one time I called
to that same kind of lane. I used to sit. One of my best friends ever was Gilbert Gottfried.
One of the funniest human beings of all time. And one of the sweetest men of all time.
So we used to sit at the Carnegie Deli. And at the Carnegie Deli in New York, it's kind of a group table, like tourists, and everybody sits like shoulder to shoulder with strangers. You don't get your own table. There's no table for two. There's 2 seats at a table.
Yeah, R.I.P. Carnegie Deli.
I know.
It was so fun.
There's something called the Carnegie Deli, but it's not the Carnegie. It's not it.
No.
But we used to sit there.
Yeah.
And I used to say, and there'd be tourists that would be shoulder to shoulder, and I'd say to him like, "How you doing?" They go, "Well, I can't do. I don't do it."
What? Why would I?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he used to go, "I got a fluid seeping from my ass.
I love it.
It's like a pus."
I love it.
And people are sitting there with their corned beef sandwiches, but he would do that. So let's hear. Put this on play.
Fighting PC culture. If the closest thing you have to a brother Louis J. Gomez happens to come up, feel free to roll with that for a little bit.
Okay, so they're setting it up.
This is them setting it up to me.
All right. I'm muting and now adding call.
Okay.
Wait, we can talk.
So you're getting a Fox person on the phone.
Yeah, they're calling the producer.
It's not muted. Shut up, Dave.
And I'm already on the phone, so I know.
Okay.
She thinks this is Dave Chappelle calling her.
Oh, hey Dave, how are you? Hello?
Join.
This is such prank phone call energy.
Hello?
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm on a train, so apologies. Can you hear me?
Oh, it's quite all right. I'm outside. I just wanted to call you real quick because I know I only have about 4 minutes.
That's okay. I have like 1% battery.
I wanted to get in quick and talk to you about Louis J. Gomez. Easily one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
Yes.
So as I was doing this, I was walking my dog.
Right.
And I'm like walking around Hoboken, New Jersey, being like, "Man, I love Louis J. Gomez. I can't get enough of him. I find him to be a very important part of comedy." And as I'm doing it, at one point in this call, I was picking up shit. Like my dog shit.
We got. You don't have to say your dog.
It wasn't you.
It was
Just me taking a nice hot dump. But I remember
I like to pick up strange shit.
I just pick it up and I feel. And I remember I turned the corner and I was talking pretty loud on the phone.
Right.
And this guy comes around the corner and he like looks at me and he's like, I could just see that he was like, I thought I heard Dave Chappelle. But it's just me holding a bag of poop with a mutt.
Keep going. Let's hear
That
it.
man is very important to me. He is like a brother.
Yes.
I've been with him through thick and thin. We have established a connection that is a bond that is unbreakable.
Yes.
I would honestly say I'd take a bullet for Louis J. Gomez.
You know, he was incredible. I mean, I met him at Gas Digital, and he was so influential.
Gas Digital is crazy how hard I've seen him work on it and how incredible. The one problem is the website. I keep telling him, I say, Louis, you gotta fix the website.
So I don't know that they're reacting
Yeah, I
like
know.
this.
Right.
I'm just like on my phone. Part of the best part of prank phone calling is when your friend is in the other room and they have their hand, they have their hand on the receiver and they're like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm getting nuts. So I didn't know how it went. And then they hung up and they were like, and that was when I watched this clip, was the first time I got to see the people reacting to it.
Well,
And I
that's
was like,
fantastic.
I was like,
did
oh,
did you give her any misinformation besides you knowing Louis B. Gomez and him being the great?
No, Louis J. Gomez.
Louis J.
He would get mad at me if I didn't
I'm
correct
Canadian,
you.
and the exchange rate on a J is a B. Yes.
He the fun part was just like she always was trying to, as she tried to move it back to a regular conversation, I would subtly bring it back to just wanting to talk about Louis. So she would be like, well, what do you think of the state of comedy? And I'd be like, well, Louis J. Gomez always says. And it was just,